Welcome guys to another chapter of unboxing economic things. Today the turn is to India, and this Asian country with approximately 1,400 million of citizens, becoming the huge democracy in the world. In this video we're going to talk about the economic growth in India, analyzing three principal factors. First one is the historic context. Second one is the principal causes of economic growth in India, and third one is the different policies that India has to sustain the growth nowadays. So let's go. So here we are, guys. I have the box. Inside we have different characteristics of economic of India. So I'm going to open. Let's going to find what different things about it. So in first place, we can find that in the last 60 years, India has been experiencing a long, strong economic growth. The average real GDP it's around 6.6% since 1991 and 2018. This is a graphic that compares real GDP between United Kingdom and India, and it says that India overtakes UK to become 5th biggest economy. Second, we have shocks in economic of India. India's economic development hasn't been linear and has been affected by external and internal shocks, especially indirectly from the financial sector. Some of example of some crises are the Asian financial crisis in 1997, or the financial crisis in 2008, and most recently the devastating effects of COVID during the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. So let's delve into these causes and historic context of economic growth in India.
Once India achieved independence in 1947, Nehru, its first head of government, proposed a series of social democratic and centrally planned policies, which transformed the newly independent India into a democratic country with a series of strict economic policies, a rigid centralized government, a controlled market, and the impossibility of entry of foreign companies. This policy was maintained for a couple of decades, which resulted in the improvement of many social assistance factors such as education, health, and slightly infrastructure conditions. But on the other hand, it failed to create an improvement in terms of per capita income, and India did not show itself as a leading country worldwide in aspects of economic growth despite the large amount of resources it possessed. This shows that although a marked improvement was achieved in social terms, India did not reflect its capacity in terms of natural resources, manpower, or technological development competent compared to other countries. After 1991, after two quite negative economic events occurred for India, a deep fiscal crisis and a deficit in the balance of payments, begins a process of transformation guided by Manmohan Singh, Minister of Finance, who begins to assume a more liberal position against the market and the economy itself. Motivating the access of private groups to the industry, reduction of tariffs, allowing foreign investment, and other policies of the liberalization process. These ideas would be raised later by Dries and Sen, in their book India, Economic Development and Social Opportunity. Once these policies are undertaken, India begins a race of rapid ascent, showing growth rates close to 6% per year, which was a fairly high figure compared to the other countries and only lower than that presented by China, which on average was 9%.
Well, what we have seen explain us how this country was slowly growth to position itself as one of the giants of the world economy. But now let's continue with the other things in the box that explain the main factors that causes this position of India in a world economy. According to the International International Monetary Fund, the GDP grew 6.8% in 2022, and the mainly characteristics by the economy activities was we found first of all the travel industry. Then we have also trade and a construction sector and mining sector that was so important the last year. Also, we have the electricity sector, and the last one is the manufacturing sector. So this is the principal activities that represents a big portion in GDP last year from India. Within the growth factors, also we can find, for example, demography. India has a young and growing population, which means an abundant and dynamic workforce. So that has allowed greater boost in productivity and domestic consumption. Also, the increases of consumption capacity of the middle class, that's an important thing.
This middle class emerged once the economic policies of 1991 were undertaken and has increasingly reached an ever-expanding purchasing power, considering that in most countries, consumption represents on average 60% of total GDP, and the middle class now reaches 100 million people.
Another characteristic that we have is the increase of exports that have motivated the development of economy. Particular, we have in computer and in technology sector of services, a sector which had benefit by export of technological services outsourced by foreign companies, principally by two reasons. One, because the high level of knowledge in this area, and second, because English proficiency.
One of the most relevant causes in the economic growth of the country is the increase that has been suffering both private and public investment and also that of a foreign nature, which added to low interest rates have motivated the entry of capital for portfolio investments as well as direct type.
India has invested in improving its infrastructure, including roads, railways, ports, and airports. This has facilitated internal and external trade, as well as the mobility of people and goods. India has fast-growing sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, financial services, tourism, renewable energy, and the pharmaceutical industry. These sectors have contributed significantly to the country's economic growth.
Now, in the actual situation, we find that India is the world's fourth largest agricultural power. The pillar of the Indian economy, agriculture accounts with 16.8% of total of GDP and employs approximately like 42.6% of total labor force. So the main agricultural products that this country has are wheat, millet. Also, we can find rice, corn. We have also tea, cotton, lemon, chickpeas, and bananas, and other for example sugarcane or mango, potatoes, papaya, guava, and other fruits. It's important to say that the pandemic encouraged to city dwellers to return to their ancestral lands, and this causes the stimulation of agricultural activity that is so important in the last years for India. That's all that elements in the box. And that's all, guys, for this video. I hope that you enjoy it, and see you in the next time of this channel in unboxing economic things. Bye.